Yeah.
So I'm sharing it.
1 minute to air.
So remember, Pumpkin.
It's not because of systemic racism. It's
Did you get it sent to you yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, 45 seconds.
I just got the attachment.
Okay, just go ahead, hit on that, and then just get
You
to
see it?
tagging
This
it.
is did you send it through?
Just go ahead, wherever you are, just go ahead into it. Wherever you get it on. Look on your messenger, you might have it on there.
I don't see it yet. I don't see it.
All right, I'm gonna get it to you. There we go. Let's send it to you.
Here we go.
Yeah.
All right, let me know when you want to start your mic.
Okay. Put that on the mute. Where we at, time was?
You ready? Okay. Mic's on.
What's up, everybody? This is Urban World Talk live right here on Facebook Live and on RainierAvenueRadio.World. I'm your boy, Teri Youngman, one of your regular hosts, other co-host, co-heart in this whole thing. Anthony Adams is still on vacation. He will be back next week, though. Right now, he's enjoying the sunshine and the sights, sunny Southern California, so I want to wish him all the best on his vacation with his family. But I got some real heavy hitters in here to help me with this conversation today. Some really good brothers with me. My brothers from way back, from a long time ago, and to now. My boy right here, Akbar Brooks, our first time guest on the show. How you doing? Go ahead, baby. Go ahead, pick up the microphone. Tell everybody how you feeling. Tell everybody how you doing.
Doing good, man. Doing good. Glad to be here, man. This is wonderful.
Glad to have you here, and also the returning champion, Mr. Eddie Howard, once again back on the show. How you doing, Eddie?
What's good? I'm all right. I'm feeling pretty good.
You feeling pretty good? Let me get you more in the mix. Right there, you go.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You know, I want everybody to see how you doing, man. All right, guys. And so, as always, guys, I want you guys to continue to like, share this video, and keep commenting as we go along, so everybody can be a part of the conversation as the show progresses and we get into it. We got a lot of good things to talk about today. Some not too good things to talk about, but that's how the world goes, right? So it ain't everything good, but we got some good things to talk about with community outreach. With two of these brothers right here are two of the foremost experts in that arena right now, doing some great things out here in Seattle with the community outreach. So we're talking about that. We're gonna talk a little bit about music and black culture once again. That is always an issue, especially with some of the stuff that's going on in the hip hop world and things like that. And with Eddie wanted to touch on something that I actually had on the show a little while ago with a guy who had a crazy comment about the culture and music. So we're going to touch on that a little bit later on, and also talk about the tragic death of Neil Wilson. We're going to get into that later on. But first and foremost, how's everybody doing today?
Good.
You guys good? Everybody good? Great? I know it's a little hot in here. I know
It's definitely hot.
I know it's hot. It's hot. If you see us, sweating and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? We didn't just get through playing some ball. We just sitting here cooking and roasting in the studio. We want to bring this conversation to y'all. So that's how we're doing it.
Absolutely.
So, one of the things that is a big thing for us, especially on this show, is stuff that's going on in the community and different ways to reach people and to reach the youth. And so we definitely like reaching the youth and want to send people into the world with all the right tools and having the right people to influence them and look up to. So I definitely wanted to talk to some of you guys and hear about some of the things that you guys got going on in that field. I'm gonna start with Eddie right now. I'm gonna start with you because you've come on the show before and you've told us your story. Your story, it was a painful story at first, but it's a triumphant story in the end because you came from the hard places. You came from hard times. You came from the streets, and you did your time. You did things, and you came back and turned it around, flipped it on them, and now you're doing things. So tell us a little bit about some of the stuff that you're getting into right now that's helping the youth, and just being a positive influence and impact for people. What's going on with you, man?
Well, yeah. So just to bring back to light, I did serve 12 and a half years in prison. Caught my case when I was 16. 17 went on a run. 18 was the youngest person at Walla Walla, which is the most notorious prison in Washington State. My last few years, I really got to know more about myself.
Right.
And it's ironic because we were having a conversation yesterday at this community meeting. I'm a part of this work group called Seattle Reentry Work Group, and we're tasked with coming up with policies, procedures, or resources, opportunities that can better assist the brothers and sisters who's incarcerated on getting out. And we were talking about these issues and what needs to be in place in the community in order to better serve individuals that's getting out. And my number one thing has always been life skills, right? Where you can provide somebody with a house who's been removed from society from a long time, provide them with education, provide all these different opportunities. But if we're not actually getting to the root causes of things, then I don't think that we'll see too much progression without actually addressing those things that we haven't actually dealt with.
Definitely not. You got to get it. You got to get to the root.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Get right in
absolutely.
there.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the things you got going on? I know you got Urban League.
I'm still at Urban League teaching life skills and job skills. We're partnered with a few different organizations, running a program called Leap to Win at the Kent Regional Justice Center for men and women that's transitioning. I'm also part of the King County Credible Messengers Initiative. Shout out to New York and D.C. doing it real big out there on the East Coast. We're in a process of continuing to establish ourselves out here in King County and all the hot spots for these youth who are impacted by the system. And also, I just started my organization called the Progress Pushers, and our first order of business will be getting into the Green Hill juvenile prison. Yeah, and just going in there and teach those young brothers these, like I said, these life skills, right? How to adjust in relationships, how to adjust in life, right? How to use effective communication.
Word.
Things like that, man, that can really propel us forward.
Let me ask you something, because you did the show. We did a show a few months ago when you really broke it down and got into what it was exactly, the things that got you into the trouble, and then what got you out. More importantly, and what turned you around, and who was there in your ear. So for a recap for those who might not have caught you the last time, so you did time. So you was out there. What exactly? What was your experiences out there on the streets? And what got you into the trouble, the kind of people, and then what helped you when you were inside, look at things differently and want to make changes? Because you're a different person right now.
Definitely. That's a great question. And it reminds me of a time when I was locked up. I think I was about 5 years in. And I had about 7 years left. My mom said, I just don't get it. She said, you was playing sports. You was going to church every Sunday. Why did you still choose to do what you did that landed you up in this situation? Right. I said, well, it really all boils down to consistency, Mom. And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, of course I was going to church every Sunday, but I'm seeing individuals who are positive role models once a week, opposed to seeing individuals who I'm constantly around every single day in my environment doing those everyday things. Right. And those, I remember I read a quote one time that said, first of all, the top 3 influences in a child's life are in order: his peers, teachers, and then parents. Right.
Right. In that order.
In that order, right?
In that order.
So if you're consistently around somebody, right, who you look up to, who's doing negative things, right, 9 times out of 10 you're going to automatically jump into that fold. Right. So that consistency piece was very important, and that's why now we're pushing this Progress Pushers movement, this credible messenger movement, to be consistent in these young folks' lives, not just while in class.
Right.
They can call on the weekends. I done got calls 2:00 in the morning. I done went home visits and things like that, and this is that consistency piece to really show through love. Hey, man, we're not just here just for the moment. we want to help you along your path towards progression,
Right.
towards self-betterment.
Right.
So the other half of your question, as far as in prison,
Right. Who helped you turn it around in there? What was you looking at?
Man, shout out to Augustine Cedar. You know, shout out to some of those brothers, Anthony Wright, who got 156 years right now, still in prison.
Wow.
Shout out to Andrew Rowe, who got 50-something years still left. 30-something left. He been down 20 himself. Shout out to Tony Wheat, who been down 55 years.
55.
I think I think he got more time than anybody in the state of Washington.
He's been down already 55.
55.
Wow.
Tony Wheat.
I can't even remember.
But also the BPC, 2009. I was sent out of state in 2004 because of overcrowding. I came back in 2009 in Monroe.
Where did they send you out of state?
I was in Oklahoma, Arizona.
So they just I didn't hear this last time.
Colorado.
I had you on the world tour.
I didn't hear this last time.
Yeah.
So they moved you from state to state,
Because of overcrowding, absolutely.
and you ain't got no say in that. There's no kind of nothing that you just gotta go.
You gotta go. In fact,
Did you know that?
I didn't know he was going around.
They actually picked the individuals who didn't want to go.
Ooh.
The individuals who volunteered, who had the 100 years and all that in life without the possibility of parole.
And they just wanted to see something, huh? Something
They was
different.
like, no, we don't want to take you. We're going to take the individuals who don't want to go.
Wow.
That's what ended up happening. So, yeah, shout out to Mo, Buck, rest in peace. He was out there with me in Monroe as well.
Real quick, I want to shout out to everybody watching on Facebook Live and everybody on RainierAvenueRadio.World. Let's keep the comments and everything coming in. Like and share the video so more people can join in with us. Go ahead, continue, man.
But yeah, so when I came back in 2009, I got sent to Monroe. And there was an organization that was meeting every Friday called the Black Prisoners Caucus, the BPC. And that really was the moment that began my positive change. It really had me thinking and looking at things from a whole different perspective.
What were they doing in that? With that?
So shout out to the Black Prisoners Caucus, BPC. They began in Monroe in 1972. And it really was about how to change the dynamics of the community in prison as well as the community on the street. So that's one thing I really was admiring, the fact that they wasn't just talking about doing, having change within their own community in prison. Right. They was talking about what can they do to increase the progression of the youth out here in the streets, right?
Right.
And for example, at Urban League, we got a program called Career Bridge, which is a job readiness program. And it's now 6 weeks. The first began with 1 week. That concept of Career Bridge actually formed in the BPC.
Dope.
And that was really big. A lot of people have been benefiting from that in major ways. So yeah, 2009, I would say that was really my start. I got out at the end of 2015. That was my start to really looking at things and being shown things in a different perspective, right? By those mentors. I think we all need some type of positive mentor in our life,
right?
That can help guide us and sometimes hold our hands
Definitely.
through life's issues. Yeah,
definitely. But look, you know what? They said the Lord works in mysterious ways, right? And I know you know that one. So and sometimes, somebody like you who has the mind to learn and understand, you know what I mean? Somebody like that that obviously was what you needed. You
Absolutely.
saw what you needed to see, you went through what you needed to see, and you met the people you needed to meet. I'm gonna get back to you in a minute. So we go all the way back. Man. This is basically my cousin, out here in the state of Washington. My family grew up with his family, and I remember him. See, now this guy, he's a big minister out here, in Seattle.
Yeah.
This is a big, one of the big up and come humble. He's humble, but he's like that. You know what I'm saying? You got to see him up there. But before that, I remember, you was doing your thing. You was out there. You know what I mean? Tell us a little bit about your struggles before, and then what helped you to see things to where you are now as being such a beacon, such a positive light where you are.
It's amazing, man, because sitting here, we all literally was going to the same church together, as youngsters. And so the amazing thing and something that Eddie was talking about was that even though boom, being raised in church, all of those things, man, saved at an early age, all of that.
Yeah.
But I'm coming from a home, without a father. And so, it's cool when you're young, but then when you start getting to those real peer pressure ages, 12, 11, 12, 13, 14, even though I was going to church all the time, them other times is when now, here come the drinking, here come the weed, here come the this and that.
When you needed that foot on your behind.
When you needed a foot on the man,
exactly,
the father.
Exactly.
Because
you're like, I know your mom, Auntie Pat, she was putting it down, but it's different for a man to have that male connection.
Because you get to a point to where mamas even if she's whooping you, whatever, it don't hurt. And all due respect, I mean, I ain't trying to be disrespectful or nothing, but it just don't hurt. So you need something else. And so during those times is really what allowed me to be able to kind of, man, what are my friends doing? You're looking, even if you don't realize that, you're looking for someone like you that can help you navigate the process of manhood.
What's that you said, the consistency, right? You're seeing that consistency. You're seeing them guys out there. That's the most relatable people out there to you. And you saw them, and that's what you gravitated towards.
Yeah. And so, it took me until I was about, probably like 21 to really, have a rude awakening and come back, And so, but, long story short, I was going to school down in Oakland, blah, 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 and down there just seeing all the, the different things and really understanding like, wow, like, I'm coming from a good situation, but it don't matter, like, going to clubs and cats getting shot in the face right where I'm at,
right there.
Cats carrying rocket launchers and whatever, grenades to school, you know what I mean? And just like in a moment's notice, like, today, oh, what's up? There goes such and such. Then next week, where's such and such? Oh, you didn't hear he just got killed the other day, so you realize, man, like you can get touched no matter where you are, whether, you're hard or not, from the hood or not, don't matter, you can get touched. And so, I begin to realize, man, I really need to get back to where I know I need to be. And one of the main things was that, like you said, like, having younger brothers and sisters, realizing that they was looking up to me the same way I was looking up to my older brothers, you know? And so whatever they was doing, I was trying to do. And so realizing that they were looking up to me, it kind of helped me say, okay, are you going to perpetuate the cycle? Or are you going to break that cycle?
Right.
And so that was really one of the things that really helped me to say, I need to be the best example of what's right, you know what I mean, and what's positive for the people that are looking up to me.
And I want to hear about the rest of your transition. I want to look at some of these comments real quick. Some of the people sitting in there. Lydia, Anna, how you guys doing? Lydia says it's too hot. Talk to us. We know we burning up right here. You know what I'm saying? Filete Sue says, I see you, bro. And Howard, what's up, man?
Hey,
how you doing, Howard?
Hey, Auntie.
She said, look at her remarkable son is what she meant to say. Lawrence, what's up, Lawrence? Lydia says,
what's up, L Boogie?
That's good to hear. There's that kind of support inside from the other prisoners. She's saying that about that.
Who said that?
Lydia, wife.
That's real. Yeah.
She said, what's up, V? Hyundai Sylvester saying, what's up? V says, hello, everyone. Anthony, from SoCal, he'll be back next week. Anthony. And Howard says, minor setback on a major comeback to her son. She said that. V. Cormier says, V. Cormier says she went to school with a PK kid, but she ended up pregnant and ran away from home. So having a balance in the home is very important. I was raised in a single parent home, not in the church, but I made different decisions, so I stayed out of trouble. Kudos to you, young man. What's up, Jay? Jerron Craig. And Howard says, Eddie is using his gift. That is true. Lori Chambers says, cheers to that. Jerron, what's up? V says, real talk, breaking the cycle is important. Lori says, yo. Lydia says, do you think having a two-parent household when one parent is a step-parent the same as having both natural parent, or is one better or worse?
Man, I mean... And so, like me, teaching, at a school, working with young men, and, I do a mentoring program for young African-American men and men of African descent. And the bottom line is, man, when there is that absence and that void, particularly at those formative years, it creates a real void that is going to be filled by something else.
And you have that want and desire. Young men have that desire to want to latch onto that male. So they're going to find it one way or the other, right?
So to have a loving stepfather, although he isn't biological, but a loving father in that home that's there to understand, because a man knows, the tendencies, the ways, the psyche, and all of that of a young man.
Right.
And so there's certain things that a young boy, a young man can only get from a man. And so having that loving father in the home,
it's a plus. If it's a good step parent, then it's always going to be a positive. I think that's where he's coming from. So I'm gonna get back to more of these comments in a second. So you saw what was going on. You saw the negativity. You saw the life being snatched from brothers left and right. You saw the pitfalls of the streets when you were out there. So then you decided that at some point that you needed to hit a corner. You needed to turn a corner and start making some changes. Tell us about that moment.
Yeah, well, like basically, and I was down, playing basketball, down there, and the thing is like, we was connected to a lot of different people. My coach was, best friends with Brian Shaw and best friends with Gary Payton. So I was seeing, we would go to Gary Payton's house, we'd go to Brian Shaw's house. And so we'd see, the lifestyle of millionaires. And he lived, I thought it was just a rap song, but he literally lived next door right to E40. And so we're over at his house, and here comes I see a canary yellow, a Range Rover outside. And literally, who comes knocking on the door? E40.
Well, I'm just over here.
Literally, E40. And you remember the song we're saying? I'm in Gary Payton's bowling alley. Literally, we playing bowling alley in his bowling alley. So the thing is being able to see all of these different things, and even in the midst of all of that, man, money and everything that you can want, but I still saw that there was voids there, And so that's really basically like, guys are really getting my attention. Look, like you can chase after all of this, man. You can do that, but there's something inside of you that's not going to be filled by all of that, and you still going to be empty inside. You still gotta deal with the piece that you're missing on the inside.
Definitely.
And so that's what really got my attention, man. And I said, man, I need to get back to my roots. I already knew the way, so it wasn't like I didn't know where to go. I just
you knew. We all had the address.
Come on.
We all had the address. We was all there. I want to welcome everybody who's just now joining us on Facebook Live and on RainierAvenueRadio.World, joining us here for Urban World Talk Live. I got my boy Eddie Howard, Akbar Brooks. We talking about young brothers out here reaching out to the community, giving back, and talking about some of their experiences from when they were young men out there and to what brought them now to being the beacons of just pillars of hope for these people in the community. I want to look at some more of these comments real quick right here. Lawrence is laughing at something. Fetty Sue said, Eddie doing his thing. I did time with him at AZ, so he was part of your world tour.
Who's that?
It's like Fetty Sue.
Oh, that's my guy. What up, Oos?
Nice.
Yeah. So Anthony Adams says, hey, y'all, be quiet about it being hot. It's 107 degrees here in LA. Man, we don't want to hear about your vacation. Your vacation
itself. We're talking here right now.
Out there on roller coasters and all that. You just enjoy your trip and get yourself back here next week, man. V. Cormier says, you guys need a fan. Yeah, we got fans. It's just, in order for us to bring the conversation to you guys right, we would get a little interference from it. So that's what we're just taking it for the team right here. Anthony Adams says, my dad that raised me was my stepdad, but I consider him my dad. I mean, my biological one got killed when I was 8. So, and that was a great thing. He had somebody to step in, when his other dad couldn't be there for him. So that's a good thing. V. Cormier says, thank you for sharing your story. Eddie, young men need to hear this. And it's a very positive one, which is why I want him to tell it every time I see him. V. Cormier says, a lot of these athletes have money, but no morals or structure, so that needs to be taught as well. So yeah, I'm sure that wasn't the only lesson he was learning there. He learned a lot of lessons from them brothers, I'm sure. And Howard says, how can we reach and teach our youth today that's going through the struggle? Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think about that? We're reaching people now. That's what we're doing now with these outreach things and stuff like that.
And I think one thing is cool, and this is what's so powerful, is because the program and everything that you're doing, helping people redirect them even if they get there, that's powerful. But then and then what I'm doing as working in the school, as having the mentorship. Because,
talk to us about that.
Yeah.
Tell us about your thing.
I've been working for the school district, in special ed educator for the special needs department, which our where, particularly young men are a heavy population of that.
Absolutely.
And so when you're talking about the school to prison pipeline, it really unfortunately targets our young men. And so
what do you mean? And for those who might not know, I'm familiar with it, but for people, the school to prison pipeline, just kind of break that down just a little bit, real quick, as much as possible.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, and this is, just the dynamics of the community, all of these things with our young men in school, the special needs population, because of the absence of fathers and things of that nature, the tendency is their behavior tends to be a little bit, out of control, or needs to be, a little more modified at early ages. And so, from the kindergarten age to third grade, a lot of our young men, because of their behavior, and many a times when they're in schools that aren't with a lot of teachers that look like them, then, it's easier for them to get classified. Oh, they need an IEP. Oh, they need a behavior plan, which then puts them into the special needs avenue.
Wow.
And the thing about it is once they start getting in there, it's highly likely for them to be diagnosed psychotropic drugs, the Ritalins, they have attention deficits and all of these things,
ADHD,
which unfortunately then makes them susceptible to addictive, a greater addictive nature and addictive drugs later. Mm-hmm. And so when you're doing that from school, and then it's constantly, you're in the bad class, you're in the behavior class, you're in these classes, and so and then there is no redirection. Right. Then you become a big candidate of going to prison and
that's the cycle. That's it. Almost seems like somebody wants you to be in that because they put you in those positions and they know that's going to happen. And it's just like you're talking about the medication. The medication and the drugs, I've always been against a lot of that too, because you see a kid that's just hyper. He's just a kid. In my mind, he's just a kid. You talk to him, you show him some things, and that's that. But what do drugs do? You depend on them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so if you're already building that up inside of young people to depend on drugs in order to change their state of being,
right?
what do you think that's going to lead to?
Right. And I want to add this too. That is definitely one big element, but I think one of the things that we can't not mention is the fact that teachers, right? Mm-hmm. You got to, in Washington State, I believe 80% teachers are white women.
Come on.
Right? So when you have an influx of black students that's being taught by white women, right, who never understood the culture, doesn't know how to reach this kid, actions speak louder than words. Right. So if I'm a white teacher and little Timmy is actually responding to me in a better way, or in a way that I feel he's supposed to, but little Devontae, you're doing too much, right? My actions is going to show you that I really don't care about what you're saying. So as a result, if I'm not caring about little Devontae and little Devontae starts acting up, right, to get that attention because he's not being called on in class as it is anyway, right? I think we also can't neglect the fact that it's a system. Just like the prison is a system, just like the judicial system, the educational system, it's all a system.
It's a system.
School to prison pipeline. Absolutely.
That's right. And okay, so we're gonna leave it right there. We got a ton more to talk about when it comes to this stuff. What's going on right now? We can go on all day like this. We got a ton more to talk about that. We'll talk about some music and black culture. We'll talk about the tragedy with Nia Wilson. All of that. We got a short break coming on for the radio station RainierAvenueRadio.World. We'll be here on Facebook Live, so we're staying right here. We'll be 3 minutes, and you guys are going to be back with the main discussion. So keep the comments and questions in right now.
Keep going.
RainierAvenueRadio.World.
Let me ask some people.
Time for a Rainier Avenue Radio News Update. I'm Daniel
Questions coming in, comments coming in. 3 minutes, we're going to be back to the main conversation.
$275 per adult, a decision that was heralded by King County Executive Dale Constantine after the King County Council voted unanimously to approve the measure last November.
No more zones, no more peak, no more off-peak. It will be $2.75 to board no matter the time, the day, the route, or the destination.
The new fares for busing countywide are as follows: $2.75 for adults 19 to 64 years old, $1.50 for children 6 to 18 years old, free for kids under 5, $1.50 for Orca Lift reduced fare passengers, $1 for seniors 65 and up and people with disabilities, and $1.75 for access transportation. About 65% of Metro users will not see a change in the amount of their pay, and the rest should expect to pay 50 cents less, according to King County Metro. Also in effect, Orca cards are now free for low-income persons, seniors, and disabled individuals, granted that they sign up for the regional e-payment network. And starting this fall, all Seattle high school students will be given free fare and a free Orca card, courtesy of a city council decision passed last month of an increase to card tab fees. All other riders will still pay $5 for their Orca cards. Daniel Bellis, Rainier Avenue Radio News.
We got the feeling
R&B, soul, funk, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. We give you all that and more on Star Time. Join me, Paul Pearson, for a 2-hour trip through the history of R&B. A new episode every week on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Come and get the feeling on Star Time on RainierAvenueRadio.World.
This is your RainierAvenueRadio.World New City of Seattle.
Play that around Three Brothers. We start thinking about we got a barbecue or something.
Information.
So how you guys send it to
Seattle
the
Department of Neighborhoods. The Community Resource Hub can be found at seattle.gov/resource hub. It's an online portal of city resources, information, and tools to help community members connect and engage with city government and with each other. That is seattle.gov/resource hub.
This is RainierAvenueRadio.World.
Coming back real quick, guys. Ready? What's up, y'all? We back. RainierAvenueRadio.World, Facebook Live, Urban World Talk Live. The boy Teri Youngman here. I'm here with Akbar Brooks, Eddie Howard, talking about reaching the community and changing lives, which is what these brothers are all about right now. So where are we at there? We just talked about the prison, the school to prison pipeline. Okay, so now we know the problems. We know what the problems are. You had a very traumatic 12 years in prison, but that changed your life for the better because you had the will to find the right way, the right path.
Yeah.
What are we gonna start doing to start helping some of these young brothers and directing them? I mean, you got the Urban League, but you got your stuff. So what are we gonna do here?
Let's not get it twisted. That's trauma that happened.
Trauma.
Right? Yeah. When you go to prison, when you're incarcerated and funneled into that system, they know that. This is why this has become a big business, right? And I wanted to say also earlier that they predict who's going to be in prison based on third grade test scores, right? So they already predicting the future of mostly black and brown folks. Now, being incarcerated for a day or 100 years is traumatizing, right? No matter what, it's still traumatizing. So I don't think there's no perfect formula, right? Because it's PTSD, right? I remember I had it's straight up, right?
It's a war zone.
Yeah, it is.
You still have moments, where you just feel like.
Listen,
you got to remind yourself.
My first couple of weeks, I still shower with my shower shoes on, right? Don't let nobody be sleeping next to me. It's
hold on. Right.
And that's real. It's
right.
Yeah, it is trauma. You know what I mean?
Real, man.
To adjust. I was telling somebody yesterday how in relationships, right? If you're not actually taught or never experienced or never saw anybody in a healthy relationship, you can never. I mean, it's going to be difficult to actually be in a healthy relationship.
You wouldn't around nothing but pimps and hoes all the time, and max and players.
It's going to be difficult to be in one.
Right.
But the same concept applies to individuals getting out, right? If you've never actually seen anybody actually go through the proper steps on how to actually transition into community, it's going to be difficult to actually do that, right? That's why it's going to be very important to have individuals to somewhat hold your hand along these challenges and these barriers that's going to come up with life. For example, I got not to put my business out there, but I got a $700 car note monthly, right? I wish somebody would have told me, bro, don't do that. That interest rate was too much, right? Yeah. We need somebody there. And then guess what? Now that I got this information, my partner Israel Espinoza, shout out to him. He's a credible messenger as well, working at Urban League. He called me probably like 2 weeks ago. He said, man, I'm at the call out right now. I said, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. And he didn't do it. He learned from it.
Hov did that, so you don't have to go through that.
From me.
The Bible says, smart man learns from his own mistakes, but the wise man learns from mistakes of others.
There it is.
Right. That's right. Yeah, everybody ain't got to touch the stove. Let me read some of these comments real quick. Junior Colon says, "One love, Ed." Terry Senior says, "All generations needed a male role model. We must knock the luster off the thug life." I think that's what he meant to say. Knock the luster. Mahogany says, Eddie Hook's looking like a snack.
Come on.
You're looking like a snack, like a chocolate bar.
Chocolate.
Get all in. All right, Lori Chambers says, "This is great hearing y'all talk about this and doing something. You guys are an awesome inspiration." V. Cormier says, "I used to work for the Tacoma School District and worked as a BES. Para-educator, and a lot of our young men are struggling with academics, but not enough teachers of color they could relate to.
Right.
A lot of these children's parents are in prisons or on drugs, living from couch to couch." Lydia says, "My son's father died early on, and I feel he was affected negatively in the short years he was without, even though he was however, I got lucky and found an amazing father for her son who stepped in and showed him what having a father feels like, and it's an honor. Shout out to stepmoms and dads who stepped up." And Howard says,
"Definitely.
I am proud of you two and the journey and path God have you guys on." What about us three? What about me?
Hey.
What about me, Auntie? No.
Because you host.
No, I'm the host. I don't count. No, I know where she's coming from. V. Cormier says 45,000 teachers are white and only 700 and 800 of color. However, we live in a state that is only 3 to 7% black. So how do we rectify this? It's even in corporate America. Terry Senior says, "You can have a part 2 next week. We'll look at that." Mahogany says, "Remember that we weren't originally supposed to be educated in that system. Don't be surprised that it's feeding criminal legal system the way it is."
Who said that?
That was your girl.
Oh yeah.
Ms. Mahogany.
What's powerful about that is that, like, even with our mentoring program, My Brother's Keeper, we always try to do. We're striving to do things that will literally make lasting impact, and so we had some matter of fact, just this week we was kind of focusing on how your personal qualities, the things you like, how they can project to your future. And one of the things we was talking about is, obviously you want to go to college, or if that's your plan, do it, get your education. But not only that, but how can you develop economic mobility from ownership? And so what we did is we brought in some 13-year-old entrepreneurs.
13?
Shout out Stay Woke Coffee, my nephew, and Aaron Bossett Jr. Shout out to those amazing brothers, Stay Woke Coffee. 13-year-old entrepreneurs. And so we brought them out to show the middle schoolers, look, and Aaron Bossett Jr., shout out to him. He's homeschooled,
right?
And so he's getting a whole different perspective, because his dad, an awesome, man doing with technology and different things like that. So he's getting a whole different perspective, like you're saying. We have to inject different things that'll show them, whoa, like, what's stopping me from starting my own business? What's stopping me from creating my own wealth to where I don't have to rely on the system?
Right.
And then I have to, because if I'm relying on the system, then I got to get what the system gives me.
Right.
But if I create my own lane, then, now I can open up the way for others. And so that was one of the things that we're doing. And so literally right now, they're, creating an app and all of that, man. It's just, I can't say too much right now. But they're, like opening their understanding about apps and all other different types of things. So they're seeing, wow, I don't only have to do this. There's many different ways that you can go. So that's our job as men.
Showing these different routes, different lanes that everybody can get into. I want to shout out everybody watching on Facebook Live and listening here on RainierAvenueRadio.World. This is Urban World Talk Live right now. Teri Youngman with Akbar Brooks and Eddie Howard. So you're showing these young guys different avenues, different lanes from a young age. You said 13-year-old entrepreneurs. That's a start. That's somewhere we could start for these young brothers, something like that. Eddie, what else you got for some of these young guys coming out?
Well, going by for what Akbar said, I think largely of what his program and my program, what we're doing, is going against what the system is doing. What the system is doing, educational system, judicial system, and all that, is teaching what to think, right? Opposed to how to think and how to do it, right? And that's exactly what we're teaching. We're teaching how to think opposed to what to think, right?
Right.
Understand that there's consequences to every single thing that you do, every single choice that we make, right? And there's other options available, right?
Right.
If you only show me a certain limited amount of options, then guess what? I'm only going to pick one or two.
Right.
But let me think outside the box for my own, right?
Exactly.
Forget being the rapper or being the star athlete. I'm trying to own the business,
That's
right?
it.
Yeah.
And we can do that too.
But we're not taught how to do that, right?
taught how to do
Yeah.
Right.
Because if you're not modeled what to do, or if you're not modeled and shown what's good, how can you do what's good?
Right.
And so that's the key. And so this is also, it's like a challenge, like, because it's easy to talk about the problem, but how many people are willing to say, you know what, I'm going to get my hands dirty to make change.
Well, and that's it. Well, everybody knows the problems, and now it's time to start talking about the solutions.
Yeah.
Let me look at some of these, some more of these comments right here. Radio break doesn't mean on air break. It does for us. Mahogany says, shout out to Wablock, student who advocated for transportation justice years ago, leading to that Seattle City Council decision.
Yeah.
So that's big. And Howard says the public schools and churches need single parents. The public schools and churches and single parents need to see this. That's right. Terry Singer says you can still talk to your Facebook. Okay. Lydia says the teaching materials are also outdated.
Yeah.
Before we get new teachers, we need new materials. Karen's laughing stuff. I think Terry's talking about our audience. That's right. Audiences, we gonna let you in. You guys gonna see us all the time. And Howard says it takes a village to raise these kids. That's right. Lavelle Marcan is sending a bunch of hashtags out. Everybody can check out. Mahogany Brown says, I say prison does not change lives for the better. And Howard says, you two are world changers. Two again. Me, I'm a world changer too. Mahogany says she's laughing at something. Anthony Party says, tomorrow at noon, Rise Up Belltown is meeting at Bedham. Following that has organized a community meeting with staff, direct locals for 3 p.m. The Barley Stone Pub next to the Showbox. So that's something people can check out. Ann Howard, single moms cannot do it alone. V. Cormier says she has an MBA and finance degree. My future is to teach people about finances. So yeah, people need to learn more about that kind of stuff. Real quick, I want to transition a little bit of the conversation. We could talk about this outreach stuff for a long time. Some of the music and black culture. That's another big influence on our young brothers, right? We all, I think all of us, Eddie, you're in music. Akbar, you dabbled. We all grew up listening to hip hop. You guys, you used to show me a lot of my earliest hip hop stuff with you guys. I mean, what do you guys think about the state of the culture? And there's also something, D, do you got that clip at all? You can play a little bit about something that Scott Rhodes had said. This guy who's on social media. It's a white Republican guy. He's conservative media. He said something about how black culture is affected negatively, mostly because of black music. Do you got that clip?
African American communities in this nation are disproportionately billing, and it's not because of systemic racism, and it's not because of the lack of privilege, it's because there's problems within the culture. There's a cultural issue happening from within the black community that needs to be corrected. Why does 13% of the population, which is black, cause over 50% of the murders in this nation? Why does that happen? Why is the single parenthood rating in the black community upwards of 70%, significantly higher than any other ethnic group? And why is it that approximately 95% of all black homicides are committed by other black individuals? It's really easy to point the finger and say it's not my fault, it's systemic racism keeping us down, it's the fact that we don't have privilege is the reason why we're not succeeding. No, that's not the reason you're not succeeding. It's the fact that you have some problems in your culture that are bringing your people down, and you need to correct them. Was America more racist now than it was in 1960? Because all
we get the idea. So basically, I played this a couple of weeks ago on the show, and the gist of his tirade that he went on for about 3 minutes or so in that video was that basically it's not systemic racism, it's not the police, it's not all this other stuff. It's the music. It's the music, and it's our own. We shoot ourselves in the foot. We're the reason. We're the cause for our own problems in the world, basically because of our music and the way that our negative influences from rap music with the violence and the glorifying drugs and objectifying women. Those are the reasons why our community is in the shape it's in. Now, while I think all three of us here will admit that, not all hip hop music is positive.
Definitely.
Do you guys agree with that sentiment? that it's the music, that's the cause? It ain't systemic racism. It's the music. What do you guys think about that?
Let him talk with his
man. This is funny. It's not funny, but I'm laughing because it's so silly. Like, when you think about it, like, as far as when you go to music, okay, who controls the music that's played, the radio station? Who controls who largely controls the record labels? I mean, and so it's not people that look like us, and so there's people that are controlling, and so literally when you go back to the explosion of gangster rap music and all of these things, you see we wasn't even in control. So somebody has to determine what is going to sell and what is going to to be let in, which is crazy because at the same time, this explosion of this type of music, although it is an expression of our reality, we're victims. This is our reality. Mm-hmm. So you're going to express what you feel. If you're getting beat up, you're going to cry. You're going to say, "Man, I'm getting beat up."
I'm going to say, "I got beat up."
So it's not your fault. Oh, well, the reason why it's bad because you're saying you're getting beat up. No, I'm getting beat up because I'm getting beat up. Right. But it's funny at the same time this explosion of this type of rap is going on. At the same time, the privatization of the prison industrial complex is booming, and so it's turning into big business, which is powerful for big businesses, and so it's advantageous economically for them to get people into the prison.
Hey, preacher, stop pounding on the table. You're going to knock the camera off.
Sorry,
he gets it past. He's about to put on a sermon. No, so Mr. Brooks, are you saying that this is all a part of the system? Is that what you're saying? Is this all a part of it?
Well, systems, any systems have to be connected. There's interconnectivity to any successful system.
Right. Yeah.
And the way you measure the success of a system is it constantly repeating the same patterns? And so if we're constantly seeing the same results, we can say that is a good system. That system may not be good for us as people, but it is a good system for the people who are controlling the system.
Right. I want to shout out everybody watching on Facebook Live and listening on RainierAvenueRadio.World. This is Urban World Talk Live. And I'm here with Akbar Brooks and Eddie Howard, myself, Teri Youngman. So, Eddie, what do you think about the black culture being negatively influenced by black music, and that is the cause, the root of all evil in black community?
That dude, what's his name again?
His name was Scott Rhodes.
He's a clown. Okay.
Yeah, he's a clown.
That's number one. He's
that's why I was laughing.
Yeah, you laugh at jokes, so that's a joke.
Okay.
He's definitely misinformed. Is our music an aspect of the problem? It is an aspect, but it was all designed to be that aspect too, right? A part of the aspect, should I say? I remember I heard Boosie say one time. He said, I think it was Boosie who said, "I was raised by Pac," right? If what you just said earlier, right? If the father isn't in the home, right, there has to be some type of replacement, a void to fill that, right?
Right.
And unfortunately, some of our youth are listening to this music as if this is the truth and they should follow that. Some, not all, right? But as far as the systematic racism, that's really the root.
Right.
Because it stems from that.
And a lot of hip-hop is talking about systemic racism in it. So if you listen to the music, it's talking about the real problems we're talking to. And so this is the other thing. One of the things that a lot of people, especially that are really about the black community, are really trying to uplift, one of the criticisms that we get is that we don't look at the problem from inside, right? We don't say we can protest the police and everything else like that happens, but we don't ever talk about our actual own problems. But I think there's some brothers right here that will be quick to admit, like with the stuff that happened with XXXTentacion, I forget how to say his name, the guy who got shot. It's hard for me to say his name. I didn't really mess with his music, but he was a big guy. XXX, look him up. He got shot a few weeks ago in Miami. The stuff with Tekashi 6ix9ine, he got beat up. Now these are guys, right, that are perpetuating a lot of the ignorant stereotypes, right, that you see in hip hop music. These guys are coming on there, and now with social media being what it is, they're coming and they're making videos, and they're coming out and they're posting all these things on Facebook, Instagram about, hey look, I'm a thug, I'm in this guy's neighborhood, Now you get beat up next week, and you got robbed and $75,000 worth of jewelry. This is a problem. Those things are negative influences on us, right? So we do know, we can recognize that, but that's not all.
That's the entertainment, right? As we know, entertainment sells, right? Well, let's go all the way back to the origins of entertainment, right? When they created the games, right, in Rome, these coliseums, right? That was to literally distract the people from what's really going on. They created those games. That's still what's going on today in the entertainment industry, even with the sports industry, the music industry, is to distract the people from what's really going on, so we could talk about the 6ix9ine, the clowns like 6ix9ine, and all these dudes. And that's why they're not going to focus on the Nipsey Hussles who's spitting that real. They're not going to focus on
Kendrick,
now they focus on Tupac. They're not going to focus on the J. Cole. They're not going to focus on these guys who's actually delivering that reality music, right? And that's really trying to change the culture for the better, because that's not healthy entertainment, right? That's not the healthy entertainment. They're looking for things to distract the people. So now we can have conversations about the dumb stuff that's being said and how they're popping pills, right? I popped a Molly and I was all that old corny stuff. But what I do want to say is this too. I think we often forget in these conversations, slavery lasted for almost 400 years.
Come on.
How long have we been out of slavery? Almost 150 years, around 150 years.
Right.
It's not even half the amount of time that our people was actually enslaved.
Not only that, and then take that even a step further. If you talk about when actual civil rights was actually over, when we actually were treated like somebody in this country, that's only been, 30, 40 years?
That's what I'm saying.
That's actually been a thing, and we still trying to come back from that. So for them to act like you guys had so much time to get over this. Really? Because my mom and my grandma and stuff like that, they weren't able to be in the same places as your moms and grandmas.
No.
So it's not.
And you got to factor in these things. We talking about the problem. You can't just talk about the problem without addressing the roots, right? They're talking about putting Band-Aids on deep wounds, right? And that's something that you can't do. We got to address what really took place accurately, because with the Holocaust, you got the Germans that's at least acknowledging the Holocaust happened, right? And trying to right their wrongs.
But they're told to never forget that. Remember, that's the slogan: never forget.
But we're
when
told,
it comes to that, get over it.
Y'all better get over that. That happened so long ago, man.
We don't have a lot of time. I'm trying to read some of these comments real quick. Darius Lyles says, absolutely have to change the way we think. V. Cormier says, own the building, not what is inside the building. That's real wealth. Mahogany Brown says, I call BS on that video and not those words. Romaldo Herda says, proud of you, Eddie Hooks. V. Cormier says, however, it's mainly white kids who are buying this music, so his argument is weak. Remember the black lady who tried to shut down Dolores Tucker? Tupac's lady. And it went on to become $1 billion business, but white men are still winning because of it. That's true. Mahogany Brown says, who owns the music? How come most artists have alternative messages that the ones that do have alternative messages aren't widely marketed and promoted? Who owns the TV networks? Who owns the radio? That's right. Lydia says that's ridiculous. Terry Senior says, there has been bad music in 50 years of popular culture. Lydia says, yes, Mahogany, if they're promoting a positive message, they're not marketing it. V. Cormier says this is why she respects independent artists like Master P or Tech Nine, who controls the content. Mahogany Brown says we shouldn't even give this dude any airplay. He's corny, and all of you who discount musicians because of their commercial lyrics, I encourage you to dig deeper. Many have great messages, and they get zero airplay. And look, the thing is, when we're talking about these situations, they're always quick to tell us that we need to stop talking about the other problems that are coming from outside, right? And talk about all the problems from within. These two brothers right here, they're running organizations, they're behind organizations that are dealing with the problems from within every day. We got brothers out here every single day on the front lines that are all actively trying to change the situation of the culture in the communities, talking to people this is a brother who did 12 years of his life. And he's coming out trying to change 12 and a half years. Let me not undersell any of it.
And imagine this, when you're talking about music and you're talking about the billions and billions of dollars that it generates of revenue.
Billions.
And then you're talking about how much billions and millions of dollars that they in order for it to turn profit, they funnel millions and billions of dollars into advertising.
Right.
You know, dominating the airwaves, dominating the billboards, dominating the internet, dominating the TVs.
They want it out there.
So imagine if somebody was giving you $10 million a year to promote your curriculum, to promote your program.
Right.
Buying airways, buying TV, imagine the impact that it would have.
The positive.
So the problem is not the power of what we have, but you have the people in control are choosing to funnel money and dominate the airwaves and the airspace on things that will be detrimental to our community
and
profitable for them.
Right, and you know what's so amazing about what you just said there, because and I agree 100% with what you just said. The real problem with racism, from where I sit at, one of them, there's several problems with racism. One of the big problems is it's not just that it's wrong morally, it's wrong on all the other levels like that. It's also short-sighted. Because like you said, you put tens of millions and billions of dollars into this industry that's going to keep people down. Imagine if you were raising these people up. What would our cities be like? What would our country be like if we had all these other people that could actively contribute to it in a positive way? But because of your hate, because of your short-sightedness, because you want to be in power in the oldest, most primitive way, you keep all these people down because of it. That is the real problem with racism in a lot of ways. So I want to look at some of the other things right here. Mahogany Brown, hip-hop as a teacher. Question, how come men aren't more transparent with other men about their perils? Hard lesson learned. Until we approach new depths of transparency, we'll remain in this condition. You men are the answer, but pride and ego must go. That is deep.
Yeah.
V. Cormier says, exactly, Mahogany, a lot of these young men are raised by single women or poor, and hip-hop is a way out of the ghetto, and however they end up being owned by record labels, which is another way of slave owners. Just like athletes, the reprogramming has to happen for these young men and women towards something positive. And Howard says that guy needed to be educated because he truly doesn't know what he's talking about. Mahogany Brown says, shout out to Nipsey Hussle. No, he's a genius. Just can't claim it because they left no platform to explain it. Mahogany says, yes, brothers, I see it.
It's real.
Right. I mean, we only got a couple minutes left. And one of the things we didn't get a chance to really touch on, you talk about some of the problems from outside. Nia Wilson, a young lady that was stabbed by a white supremacist in Oakland. We want to send our well wishes to her family. That's somebody from our community, a young woman, 18-year-old woman, and just for nothing, random act of violence. But again, we're told we're the problems. We get talked about what our problems are. But these brothers right here are actively helping change these problems from within, and that's what people need to look at. Yeah, we all listen to hip hop. We love our black community. We love our culture, but we don't need anybody else telling us what our issues are. We're here helping from within. So real quick before we go, I'm gonna go down the line. Eddie, where's everybody can catch you and everybody can get in with what you're doing?
Facebook on Eddie Hooks. I don't got the Twitter. I still ain't got cut up to Instagram and Twitter yet. But Eddie Hooks, you can get me on Facebook. Get at me at Eddie H Progress Pushers at gmail.com. That's Eddie H Progress Pushers at gmail.com. We do have an event. The King County Credible Messengers is linking with Federal Way. We got a youth event. I'll be facilitating a workshop. It's going to be Truman High School. So we pushing the movement. I want to say this too. All you Facebook and social media advocates and activists, that's not where we need you. We need you out here in these communities.
Real talk, yeah.
Come on out. We're going to get out there. Akbar Brooks, where can everybody catch you and where everybody find you?
Facebook, IG, all of that. Akbar Brooks, you can find me there. My Brother's Keeper program as well, doing that, making change for the young men as well. Yeah. And also, you can find me at Faith Deliverance Assembly or go to Faith Deliverance Assembly Live. We're dropping words of truth there, dropping jewels.
I'll get it.
Not just food for your belly, but food for your soul.
All right. I'm Teri Youngman. You guys catch me here every week. Urban World Talk Live right here on Facebook Live and RainierAvenueRadio.World. I want to thank my guest Eddie Howard, Akbar Brooks. My boy Anthony Adams will be back next week. I'll have a review for Mission Impossible 6 coming out this weekend. And until next time, your boy Teri Youngman saying thank you guys for watching. Like, share this video, comment on the video, keep the conversation going.
Absolutely.
And until next week, this is your boy Teri Youngman saying peace out.
Appreciate you, bro, man.
Good stuff.
This is good stuff, man. This is
Let me hit this right here. Let me hit this right.